Welcome back to 1010's podcast. Of course, my name is Michael Beck, and I've got Adam Nielsen and Rob Sponsibilities with me this week.
Yes. That makes me super happy.
It's not cool.
Yes, it is.
No,
it's
awesome.
amazing.
I'm going to say it again. Handsome Rob was catching on.
wasn't.
Everyone liked it.
No, you liked it.
I liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
My fan feedback so far has been more positive with Rob's Sponsibilities than with Handsome Rob.
That's not true.
Don loved it.
Of course
Couldn't
he did.
stop laughing.
Yeah, that's what I want. Everyone say my nickname and then laugh. That's great for my ego. It's good.
Hey, well, somebody got a jab in at Adam.
Yep.
I don't hear you bringing that up.
I was going to save it for like the rainy day. Well, today is a rainy day, but I was going to save it for the right time where I could just
I
zing
assumed
him.
you were going to introduce me as.
No, I
such.
wanted to get my zing in on Robbie before we moved on to that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And on that note, we should say find us on all of our social media sites. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, at 1010s Podcast on Twitter, and 1010spodcast.com. Find us and rate us on iTunes, which Danny did this week.
Danny's my roommate.
Who is my new favorite person because he gave me the nickname of it's Datum now
Datum.
that he has a child.
So, backstory on that, because we gave your backstory to your nickname.
It's true.
I was always the oldest one in our group, and so I was always the dad, apparently. You know, I was always the one, like, you guys, you can't jump off that roof, okay? I'm not going to
I have a hard time believing that you said that. You said, let me put my skates on. I'll jump off that roof.
Well, yeah, they didn't have skates on.
Didn't you make a cannon and put it on YouTube?
I made a lot of things.
There was some sort of cannon. Did
It was
you
an
blow
air-
up a
it was-
couch or something?
Oh, we blew
was
up a lot more than that.
It was an air cannon that shot a fence post through a tree.
They didn't shoot it through a tree. It just buried it in the tree.
It shot it through a refrigerator.
It shot a fence post through. We shot a metal fence post through a refrigerator.
How is that
didn't happen.
dad-like?
Yeah.
But we shot it through the well, because I told everybody to stand behind the cannon before we shot it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Somewhat. Maybe you should have the...
I can be a cool dad, you know.
You can have the
I
responsibility.
am
nickname.
a cool dad. Let's get this straight. I am
You are a
a
father.
dad, and I am cool.
Whoa.
Self-proclaimed.
Okay, I was going to say, we're relative with the cool here.
Logan told me so.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Damn it.
Logan's Adam's 1-month-old son, by the way. So if you would like to give us any ridiculous nicknames, please find us on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and leave your nicknames for us in the comment section.
We got to get some of Michael's high school buddies
Yes.
and find out some dirt on him.
I can start messaging.
I've never met a single person that he
His friends with?
was friends with outside, when he was younger.
Did you have friends in high school?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
But there's a reason you don't know any of them.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to start.
I like to keep my past mysterious.
I wonder if
You're an enigma.
you can go through his Facebook and find out who he's been friends with the longest, because we need to talk to those people.
Nope, deleted.
Someone's going to share a time thing or time hop or whatever.
No, I had a Facebook when I was in high school and college, and I deleted it.
And then I
didn't have-
started fresh with all these new people.
Yeah, I didn't have Facebook for a year or 2 years, and then I started over, so.
Damn it. Damn it. We'll figure something
You don't
out.
even know if this is my real name.
We don't.
Your dad calls you that.
I know. He could be in on it, though.
Yeah, you bought yourself a new identity with
Yeah,
your trust fund.
exactly.
What's your name when you go
A
down to
lot
the
of
lake?
celebrities have
No,
stage names.
exactly.
That's a good point.
What's your name when you're at the lake?
It's still Michael Beck. I mean, I use that name for everything now.
Okay.
Tanner Faust.
Yeah, or Tanner Faust. Depends on how drunk she is.
Smart.
And on that note, let's talk about we are available on new platforms as of the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
We are available now on Google Play Music, which has a podcast channel.
They finally got with the times. They've added one.
Podcasts have been available since 2007, and Google has finally caught up in 2016. But you can find us on Google Play Music. You can find it on the PC if you open Google Play Music and then click on Podcasts, or you can find us on the Android app, which Robbie will have to tell us about because we don't have Androids.
Well, you just get Google Play Music and search 1010's podcast.
Is there a podcast
Yeah, there's a
tab?
there's a podcast tab, but if you just search 1010's podcast, it comes right up, and you just hit subscribe, and then it gives you a notification every Sunday at noon when we get a new podcast.
So then you'll, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have to listen to my favorite podcast.
Yep.
It just came out.
Yep.
So for our friends that have Androids, we had told them to use a different app, but you don't have to do that anymore. This should be better.
It's working really well.
It's not working great if you're an iPhone user, but you really
Yeah, it still hasn't showed up. The
Don't.
podcasting, which I, if I were Google, I wouldn't put a whole lot of effort into it either. But
No.
Nah, so if you're an Apple user, just keep using the normal podcast app. And then we're also available on Stitcher now, which I don't know anything about, even though I added us.
I just found it, and I was like, oh, you can put podcasts on here, so we did.
It seems like you can do some different things with Stitcher, like you can do playlists. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, but I figured
got, like,
that was for the music.
So you can add podcasts.
You
to
could
it, I think.
add all 14 of our podcasts and listen to them in a row.
Yeah, as one playlist. Absolutely, you could.
That's smart.
So we would recommend going to Stitcher and downloading their app and adding all 15 episodes of the podcast to a
That
playlist.
would be great for like a long road trip.
Oh, yeah.
It would be.
Absolutely.
You'd be entertained the whole time, start to finish. Your road trip would go much faster that way.
Was that not true? Didn't our friends do that to Utah?
A few of our friends have used it as a road trip entertainment method.
Yeah, Chris has used it as a road trip thing too because he's been doing a lot of business travel. So you got to drive to Minneapolis, download a couple episodes, drive up there. Works perfectly.
There you go.
You'd be laughing the whole way.
That's our pro tip for the week.
Yep.
Adam, what'd you do this week?
I have multiple project updates. So first of all, start with the big one. I got my suspension starting to come in. I got the coilovers for the car, but I don't have the top hats that I need to get them to fit in the car. So
Kind of a critical
we're
piece there.
3/4 of the way there, though. So
Nice.
hopefully the parts will be back to the guy I bought them from. He's getting them anodized. They'll be back from anodization Monday, and he's going to get them in the mail, and hopefully they'll be here midweek. And then apparently the top hats for the back were supposed to come from the manufacturer of the coilover, and they put the wrong one on there, so I don't know how long that's going to take to get that fixed.
All right.
But that's not his fault. He's been doing really good. This is kind of the low volume custom life I live.
Yeah, and he seemed to be like the best customer service you could ask for, really.
He's been really great.
Well, the email you showed me you didn't email him. He actually saw on a forum that you posted this stuff, and he noticed that
So
something
I have
wasn't
a build
right.
log on turbomopar.com, and he saw the pictures I posted and goes, hey, wait a second. Those aren't the right top hats. Did they send those other ones with you, or did they mess that up? I'll get a hold of them if that's the case. And I replied and said, yeah, I opened up all the boxes, tore it all apart. These are the only top hats I got. And he responded with, I will get this fixed.
Awesome.
Does he have a website?
He does, but I don't know what it is. It's kind of a jumbled mess.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like an old URL
Yes,
that
it's
he's
a
had for
very
a long
old
time.
URL, or else I'd push it for him a little bit, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, he seems like he's been a really good contact for you.
He's done really great. He's a very prominent member of the Turbo Mopar community, so if you're in that community, I'm sure you can easily find him.
Yeah, or if you have any questions, you could always message us too. And
Please.
we can get you connected with him.
Nothing would make me happier than talking 80s Mopar with other 80s Mopar guys.
Robbie, what'd you do this week?
Wait, he's not done yet.
Yeah, I got one more.
Yeah, way
What?
more.
What?
So I finally bought the turbo rebuild kit for the S10.
Yep.
Pulled the turbo off the S10 Friday night. Tried to tear into it yesterday. Today is Sunday. And turns out that I was lied to, kind of, and the rebuild kit that says fits all TD05s doesn't fit my TD05. And apparently it's an eBay special. And it's not quite the same internally as the rest of the world's TD05s. And so I'm kind of up a creek without a paddle at this point.
So you got one of those like China Chargers that journal bearing, nothing special.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so after doing some quick Craigslisting, I've decided that the most logical solution to my problem at this point is to buy another eBay special turbo, because they're $200 on eBay, and if it lasts me 30 or 40,000 miles and I have to put a new one on every 30 or 40,000 miles for $200, it is what it is.
Right. What flange does that use?
It uses the same flange that was in the second gen Eclipses.
It's like a T28
No,
or T4.
no.
Well,
I wish it was.
I have no idea.
It's a Mitsubishi flange.
Oh.
That's just what it is.
Oh, that's stupid.
I wish it was a T28 or a
And then you could just
T4 because
throw
then I
a-
could just buy a turbo. I mean, I could call Garrett and buy a turbo. That's not the case.
You could go on Craigslist and buy basically any of them.
Well, there were a couple on Craigslist. There was one that I had contacted a guy. He had one for sale that was a real TD05 that had been sent into a rebuilder and had been ported and flowed, and then had better, faster spooling compressor wheel and a better turbine wheel, or faster spooling turbine wheel and a better compressor wheel.
Right.
And then, and he was selling that on Craigslist for $300, which is, I mean, I think that's like a $900 to $1,000 turbo.
Right.
And it had little miles on it. Had no shaft play according to the
Of course, they
ad.
never do.
So I was like, oh, $300. You know, I sent him a text message. No, I sold it last week. Well, then take your fucking ad down. Drives me nuts.
Amateur.
And then there was another kid parting out an turbo Eclipse, and he wants $100 for that turbo, and I don't know anything about it, and it's got over 100,000 miles on it, and for another $100, I can just buy a brand new one. So I just did.
Fair
and
enough.
that should be here this week.
Well, good. Get you back on the road.
Hopefully less oil will be sprayed everywhere.
Well, I did notice there was a nice new addition to my my driveway last week. Appreciate that.
So I had to get underneath the truck to get the turbo off. You should see
The oil sitting on the chassis.
just everywhere, like halfway back down the truck. The whole thing is just oil.
I believe it.
And what I'm confused by is it's still managing to rust.
Unbelievable.
It's a special thing that GM did in that era.
They managed to make a metal that will rust despite being covered
Completely
in oil.
covered in oil.
It's really frustrating.
Kudos to GM.
What's yours, Robbie?
I thought I did the Nissan's TSB to fix the whining of my Rogue's transmission. Now with the new fluid, it doesn't whine at operating temperature, but it screams when it's cold. So when I start it up, it just whines like crazy. So we're just gonna drive it until it breaks, and then I'll fix it. Because right now it's just right now it functions fine. It just is really noisy. So
What's it take to fix a CVT? Do we have any
A
idea?
new CVT?
You
basically everyone just
throw it away.
replaces it.
You run down to Staples and you buy a package of rubber bands and you just put them.
You just put enough of them in there till you get
Yeah.
the gear ratio that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Could we seriously go to a junkyard and pull one? You think?
Yeah, probably. You
$10
wouldn't know.
says you can't go to a junkyard and pull it out yourself because I don't know if you've ever been to U-Pullets, but they never have vehicles that new.
Yeah,
So
it's
no.
relatively new.
You can go to a junkyard and get one, but you're just going to have to buy it from them, and it will be 10% less than what it would cost to buy it brand new, and it's usually not worth it.
My plan was because I rebuilt the transmission in the 240. I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's a place in town that does really good work. So I think I'll just probably bring it to them if it gets worse or gets to the point where it is giving me more issues. And yeah, I'll just rebuild it or replace it. But yeah, that would suck.
Any 240 updates?
We got it on the dyno again, and it's better. And we've proven out that the split fire ignition system is faulty. So I have to order new coil packs
I
and
don't
wiring harness.
understand. Why?
It's probably because that wiring harness that I installed last winter that gave me all the issues
Shorted something
probably
out
broke
and
something inside of
blew
it. Yeah.
God, that sucks.
And you still got that harness, don't you?
No, I sold it. I
get
sold
it
it for a major loss just to get it out of my life.
I assume you said, I don't think this wiring harness is good.
I said it
at
did
it.
not work for me. This is
Here
just
it
get
is.
it out of my life. It's a third of the price. Just buy it.
Yeah, and of course the company that manufactures the harness said, obviously it's not our fault. It's your
It's my
AM.
computer's fault.
It's
Yep.
your AM's fault.
Yeah. So
Way to take responsibility.
Yeah, so I think it's caused more issues than it should have.
Doesn't
Super
their
frustrating.
brochure say guaranteed to
It's
to work?
guaranteed, and then if you call them, they'll tell you, oh yeah, no, it's been tested, it's right.
It's guaranteed to work because we say it's perfect and all the rest of your
Yep.
shit sucks.
But they won't let you send it back. They won't let you
right.
They won't let
We've
you
had
test it.
0 returns in 10 years because we don't allow
take 'em
people
back.
to take them
Yep.
back.
So
It's your computer.
yep.
I want to say their name, but let's move on.
No, let's leave it out.
Yeah.
Be nice.
So
No. It screwed Robbie over. It's costing
I
him
know.
hundreds of dollars.
This is the second harness from them that I've had the same issue.
Yeah, it's cost him hundreds of dollars in shop time. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
The first one-
usually you
before-
do a little bit of research.
Oh, yeah.
Have you found anybody else that has
Yeah,
had?
this is the only place that does. Oh, I mean, people had issues.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, the ticking of the idler control valve on and off when the key's off. Apparently, that's a common thing. that they never fixed.
Say what now?
So the harness is in, everything's connected, key off, engine off. The idle air control valve would click open and closed until the battery died.
What?
Yep.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you didn't remember
God.
seeing that?
No,
I showed
don't.
it to you. I showed it to you a couple times.
You turn the key on, it would just click.
No, the key would,
Click.
if the key was on, it would stop clicking. If the
Oh,
key
the
was, off,
it would click.
So if
So
you take
what'd you do about it?
Took the harness
took
off.
the
I
whole
guess
harness
it
off
never
now.
got a chance to deal with it.
the common thing was that people would just add a relay to it and then make it so that when you turn the key on, then it would turn on.
Because that's what I want to do is buy a real high dollar wiring harness
And
and then
cut it.
and then cut into it and add some more wiring to it.
Yeah, so that thing's out of my life. And then went back. Well, originally, the harness I had 240SX harness and then the SR20 harness, sent it into them, and then they spliced them together and it got back. Basically the same issues where it wouldn't start, had all sorts of issues. Excessive had to splice into it and do a bunch of stuff to it.
And that was years ago, right?
That was like 2010.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago.
So then now I bought the drop-in plug-and-play Pro harness. No issues, guaranteed to start, and I had nothing but issues.
This just blows my mind because this is like one of the most common engine swaps on the planet. Like probably the only thing that happens more than putting SR20s and 240s is Honda swapping Hondas, putting B series in the place of a D series or whatever. How is it that you've had so many problems and why isn't there more options?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It doesn't make any, because wiring is something that scares lots and lots and lots and lots of people. So how is there not 40 different companies out there making harnesses?
I don't know. Yeah, so excessive. I've been working with Josh really well, and he's said, yeah, order these coil packs and this harness, and we'll get, because he actually got a hold of somebody that had a set from an engine that wasn't working. So he just hooked those up, and it fixed that issue. But even when it got to we could never get above 10 PSI of boost, and then it would start to have misfire issues, I think at high RPMs or something like that. So he thinks that if we get new coil packs, a new wiring harness for that section of it, it should at least get us somewhere. So I'm going to order another set of coil packs and harness this week, today probably. If that guy will get
are you getting the Spitfire?
He talked me out of it.
have?
He said, don't get any upgrades. He said, just get OEM. We'll make it work. So I'm going to order a set of OEM coil packs.
All right, then.
Yeah, he said they have nothing but issues with the quote-unquote upgrades. And he said the OEM ones work just fine.
All right, cool. And that's why you go to a shop.
Yep.
Because they've dealt with this before, most likely.
Yep. Yeah, they've seen this before, which is why then also, when I replaced those injectors, they were 15% more efficient.
The new ones?
The new ones were.
That's a lot.
That's a big gap.
Big jump. I can't wait till that car's running. It's going to be so much fun.
We're hitting crunch time, so I would really hope it's done by the 21st.
I can feel, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I don't think I'm going to
if the coil packs get in this week, I'm scheduled either this week or next week to actually have dyno time. So if everything comes together and they can get it running right and tuned, I will be back by the 21st.
Well, I can assure you if the parts are there, Josh will make it happen.
Absolutely.
So
I have no question about that. What about you, Buck? What about you, Beck?
I put Robbie's old 240 APC eBay special seats in the Fiat.
They're comfortable, aren't they?
They actually are very comfortable.
Those are the most.
he was saying that yesterday.
Those are the most comfortable racing seats I've ever sat in.
I would actually recommend them to anybody that wants some cheap seats. Very impressed.
They don't make them anymore, but if they
Oh, they don't?
No, APC is gone, dead.
It is?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, maybe they're not dead, but they don't make seats. You can't get those seats anymore.
They were not, because they have nice flat rails on the bottom of them.
Yeah.
They've got tons of anchor points on the bottom. They're good.
He said to me last night, he said, I would put those in a vehicle and take it across country. They're quite comfortable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm considering if we do some sort of long haul race next year with the RX-7, figure out what that means on your own. I would actually consider putting them in the RX-7
You like them better than the Corbos?
for doing long haul racing.
So I can
yes.
say this. I've driven my Omni, which is notoriously uncomfortable, for hours. And, I've driven it in a 4-hour trip in one shot. And the Corbo that I have, which is the same model as what you have, did not give me any comfort problems. It's quite comfortable.
I wouldn't want to do it. I'd rather do it in the APC.
The only complaints I have about those is obviously they're not going to be any sort of safety regulations, like no FIA certified, nothing. So like if you have to go to a track or a race that requires it, can't use them. And then like with my stiffer suspension when I was driving on bumpy highways, the backs of the seats will bounce,
rattle.
Yeah, so you'll kind of sit back and forth in your seat. So I mean, if you're anchored with your harnesses, you'll be fine.
Are they not fixed back?
No, they're totally adjustable.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's why I was thinking they might be nice if you had to do a lot of driving. You could adjust the back where you wanted them. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Club Sports, the Corbeau Club Sports, these are not technically racing seats. They're definitely made for your street tuners, comfort, whatever.
They're ricer seats,
but they're way better than those CRX.
That's a good way to put it.
They're way better than those CRX seats that I had.
Yes,
those CRX seats were shot. That's a common mod, apparently, sort of common. People know that CRX seats fit in Fiat 500 or 1.4s.
Fit in there. You didn't have to do a whole lot to get them to work.
Not a ton. No, the issue is width. I think if you're looking for an OEM seat to put in the Fiat, I mean, this was years ago, probably before you had a lot of Chinese options. If you wanted to put some sort of decent OEM seat in the Fiat, people put CRX seats in them.
That's the problem a lot of people have with the Miata.
Getting a seat that fits.
It's pretty narrow between the rails and the transmission tunnel, and it's hard to find a seat that fits in there that doesn't suck. Because the stock ones are terrible. No bolster, no side support. You got to hold yourself in the seat, and that will make you slower.
And those Club Sports are not very wide, and they won't fit in a Miata.
Yeah, I bet my Corsa might, but that's only because
it's so narrow
it's
from the
super
factory.
Narrow.
It's a narrow waist seat.
Yeah, you can't have anything over a 31-inch waist.
Well, there's a reason that I can't remember what. It's the competitor to Kirky. I can't remember what they're called. But they make a spec Miata seat. There's a reason they make a seat for the Miata.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Not really. Got the rear brakes on the RX-7. Finally got the right ones after the guy screwed up and sent us a dash.
What?
Didn't order a dash, actually. Ordered brakes.
I remember you had saying that you had gotten the wrong rear brakes once or twice.
Yeah, well,
but I don't remember a dash. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we ordered the brakes online, and he sent us a dash instead. So that was a deal. That was like a 3-week ordeal of, hey, can you send those back so then I can get your brakes from the guy that bought the dash so I can send him the dash so I can send you the brakes? I guess. But
wow.
Anyway.
So he sent your brakes to someone else?
Yeah, he sent them to the guy that bought the dash.
And he fessed up to that?
Oh, yeah. He immediately said I screwed up.
Well, at least he's man enough to say that.
Yeah, and I think he actually refunded our money on PayPal, so won't say anything bad about him.
Yeah,
he fixed it.
Is that a store? Or
it was like an eBay store.
Deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. It just took 3 weeks to get those stupid brakes replaced after I screwed up and got the wrong ones the first time. But anyway, it has rear brakes now. And it has an e-brake. That was my other thing.
Well, good.
I didn't want, aftermarket brakes that didn't have an e-brake.
Actually, if you look at the rules, an e-brake is required in order to compete in SCCA Solo.
I should say so. I really don't think you should have a car without an e-brake, personally. I don't care what you're doing. Driving on the street, racing on a track, I think you need an e-brake.
Yeah, for perfectly executed slides.
Yeah, handbrake turns and stuff like that,
Obviously.
absolutely.
Michael and I have a theory that this button-activated handbrake thing that they have in newer cars now.
I've never even seen this.
So, like, newer cars. Like, I'm surprised your Rogue doesn't have one.
I have the most base model Rogue. If it
still.
could have turn or not automatic windows,
Crank windows?
Crank windows. If it could have crank windows, it would.
Yeah, but so there's like a button on the dash just says parking brake, and you push the button and it applies the brake for you. You don't get a handle or
That's
even
stupid.
a pedal. Our theory is that those were put in because perfectly executed handbrake turns are the best way to get a girl in. You're a high schooler. You're perfectly executing handbrake turns around the parking lot at school, and all the girls are just lining up in an orderly single file line to hook up with you.
It's a government conspiracy to cut down on teenage pregnancy.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Because if you can't do that because you have a button on the dash, those numbers drop. It's over.
Well, it's trust fund kids that get these cars. You don't want them just banging all the chicks. You want to have the poor kids getting them too.
No.
Hit that right back.
No, I'm not sure I agree with that because at least then they have the child support money to take care of them.
Oh, yeah.
Robbie's self-identifying as poor, apparently. He's feeling real beat up. He's feeling real beat up by his SR20 right now.
I do.
And the Rogue.
And
it's
the
not
Rogue.
being any nicer to him.
No, it's not.
It's that Nissan life you live.
I know. I need to go back to that Toyota life.
Maybe you should have got an Audi.
Why? So I could just guarantee a bankruptcy?
We should move on to our guest.
Yeah.
We have a
yes.
We
guest.
have a guest.
We're trying a different format this week. We'll see how it goes, but we had Lukas Shea come in because he's got an R32 GTR, and he drove us around in it. He told us about it. We recorded an interview earlier this week, so now we're going to cut that in seamlessly,
Obviously.
like we're highly professionals.
We can't.
If we
And
say
no one,
logical
no one will
sentences, but
notice
if
that
we-
there's a cut that's coming now. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Lucas has actually, why don't you tell the listeners what you have?
I have a 1990 Nissan Skyline GT-R.
And it is sweet.
That's the R32 for those like me who can't keep track of that. I thought it was an R33 before we got here today.
See, Lucas told me what years. They didn't come out with the 33 until
95.
95. So you still got a ways before you can get one of those, 2020.
So, Robbie, when you said, "Oh, it was 95," was when did you know that? Because he said that just minutes before I arrived.
I sure did.
Oh, did you? Wait a minute. When I went and shot pictures of the car, did you come back inside and tell Adam about how wrong he was?
I said, I thought it was an R33. Turns out it's an R32. And he goes, no, they didn't make R33s till 95. Like, that's common knowledge, and he's known it since day one.
Smart ass.
I should know that because I know all the 240 SXs all the way up, like the S13, S14.
So the
S15.
brother, you got to know the
I should
family.
know all that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the car, because we've been out, we've driven it. It's awesome. We'll
It's
get to
such
that.
a trip.
We'll get to that, but just tell us the basics about the car itself.
Yeah, it's a straight six, 2.6 liter twin turbo, active all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering.
This
Those are the
car,
highlights.
you'll see it from the pictures when we post them, is basically stock. I mean, the whole car is stock, which is pretty amazing in itself.
Right, absolutely. I mean, when I was looking for purchasing one, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't want one that had been modified really far and then not know the quality of the modifications or the talent of the people doing it. So I looked for one that was completely stock, and
Was it
I've done some interior stuff since then, but yeah.
was it
mostly
actually
stock.
harder to find a stock one versus modified, or was it still about the same?
A little harder, not a lot harder, but definitely a little harder. This one has the stock exhaust. I would say that maybe 5% or less had that. So, I mean, this is stock to like that extra degree. So
what prompted you to go on this search to find the R32?
well, I've been into Skylines probably for over 10 years. I mean, I was definitely looking to try and get one in college through all the, I've followed way too much on the internet, all the different scams and schemes about, if we take the engine out, then you can bring them over separate and put them together and done everything. And, to the point where I even at one point was trying to get a student loan to purchase one. So, which thankfully fell through.
I did that in college. I bought stereo equipment with
Yeah,
my student
right?
loan.
They don't care. Once they write it, they don't care what you spend it on. They do
not at
not
all.
care.
Right. But for that dollar amount, I was like, Mom, don't worry. This is a good investment. And she's like,
I told
no.
my parents weren't going to let me get student loans. I told my mom I had to fill out a FAFSA so that I could apply for some scholarships, because otherwise she wasn't going to do her end of the paperwork.
She knows you all too well.
Right. So I've been wanting one forever. And so, I was knowing that it was, finally came to the realization, all right, I should just wait until 25 years old. It's really legal to import, none of this other sketchy stuff, and not paying, the Motor X like $100,000 for one or whatever. So, and so when it was coming close, I started really looking at my search, thinking even if I, when it was a year out, okay, close enough, I can buy one. Maybe I, pay for storage over there for some long. So
Sure.
it probably took it took 2 years. I mean, this is a 90, so it took probably 2 years of searching more than I would like to admit, to find the one that was like, okay, not only what I want, but hey, I can actually afford that.
Yeah.
No.
So this is an interesting question that just came to my mind. Did you look anywhere other than Japan for one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, I mean,
That one did come from Japan, right?
this one did come from Japan, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I mean, I figured it out that look in Australia, look in the UK, look in Japan.
They have them in Canada, don't they?
They do have them in Canada, so Canada could import them at the 15-year mark. So they do have them up in Canada, but I mean, just from hearing that they're just rust buckets up there, and that's not. I mean, that's generalizing, but just the majority of them up there were just a lot rustier than the ones
That's
that were.
Not a shocking statistic.
No, not at all. But
I was wondering if it'd be easier to import one from the UK, because obviously that's closer, and that there's no language barrier there, and I don't know. I was just curious if it'd be easier to get one from the UK, but
absolutely it would. But I guess what I found was that cars from the UK were much more modified and not necessarily. Sometimes they weren't done the best or whatever. I would say. The nice thing about getting a car from Japan is that Japan has really strict laws about how you keep up your vehicle. A lot of times in Japan, it is cheaper to purchase a new vehicle than keep a car that's maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, not that old. So in order to buy a car that's actually this old and still on the road, I mean, the owner has to keep it in extremely nice condition. So typically the ones that I would find online from Japan were just a lot nicer. So I just, so I would look everywhere because, I just wanted one at a certain point, but ultimately I knew that was probably where it was going to happen, and that's what I ended up doing. So
cool. So you went through this process. It took you a couple years to find the right car.
Did you do the process mostly on your own, or did you use a company to get it?
Once I actually found the one I want.
Yeah. Well, how do you find it? Where did you? I mean,
so
do they have their own version of Craigslist, or what were you doing?
I would look everywhere. Forums. A big thing for used cars in Japan is the auction sites. Just about all cars that are used in Japan, they go through auction sites. So and so you can, there's plenty of sites out there where you can log in and you can daily look at the thousands of cars that are for sale. And there was always at any one time maybe 10 to 15 R32s going through just about every week or something like that. So there's constantly rolling through. Mine that I actually found it on Piston Heads, which is actually a UK Craigslist or Auto Trader or something like that. So it was actually owned by a company in the UK, the GTR shop. So they deal with GTRs. So they had bought it from an auction in Japan, knowing that the year it is, knowing that they would be able to most likely sell it to someone in the U.S. So they buy it. Right.
That seems really complicated.
We're
from the UK. We bought a car in Japan to sell it in the U.S.
Right. But I mean, knowing that, that it's coming that, I mean, and it's going to be popular here and there's going to be someone, why pay to ship it all the way to the UK and then just ship it right to the US
and deal with the customs bullshit twice.
Exactly.
Just deal with it once.
And the customs and taxes and things like that in the UK with the pound and everything. I mean, you would get
screwed on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So once you found it, then what? Tell us about the process of going from, okay, I've bought this car. How do I get it here?
I mean, that's, okay, I found it online. Now, back and forth with the owner, at the shop and, getting as much details, as much pictures as I can get because, all right, I'm contemplating buying a car that's, in Japan I've never seen before. All I can go on is pictures and his word and everything. So, finally deciding, okay, this is what I want, haggling the price and then going to the bank and being like, okay, you want to just wire transfer a lot of money to this person that, you only talk to on the phone. So finally get through that process, get it all set up. And the one thing I didn't do everything by myself. Buying the car from them, he helped a lot with the process. So he set up, he had a counterpart that worked in Japan. He did a lot of the deregistration. You have to make sure the car is deregistered in Japan so that it can be registered in whatever country you're wanting to bring it to. That's very important. If they ship it out without that, you're really screwed. And they did a lot of the setup to get the car to the port and and set up the shipping itself and all the initial customs paperwork that needs to be done at that point. So
how long does it take to get here?
It takes
on the boat
forever. I think it was 3 weeks.
So do you know, okay, it's on the boat? Did you know that?
So it's one of those things where they get it set up and they're like, okay, this is the transport company that's going to be doing it. And this is the boat that it's going to be on. You look online, you're like, oh, you can track the boats, right? So I can watch
be the worst
I can
thing
watch
ever.
this thing move at 9 knots and just and
ruined my life.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, because
and you see it leave Japan, and then you're like, well, wait, what is it doing now? Now it's going to China.
Wait a
And you're
minute,
like,
no.
you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way.
I'm never going to get this car.
never. And then you realize that it gets so far into the the Pacific, and then they stop tracking it, and then you're just like.
It's gone.
And
car
then
is sunk.
right.
It's gone.
And then all your buddies are showing you like hurricane reports and all these stories
I would
about
totally
planes
do
going.
that.
Yeah, and because that's obviously the kind of friends I have, and you're just like punch you in the face. But and then finally gets close enough to the West Coast and to start tracking it again. So you're like, okay, thankfully, like 2 weeks in the dark and or a week and a half, and so I had it shipped to Texas, actually, Houston, the port, Galveston, because there were strikes going on in LA too at that
isn't
time.
Galveston on the east side of Texas?
Yes.
Or so they went
So
through
it
the
had
Panama?
to go through the Panama Canal.
Man.
Again, another one of those, like, it's just, now the boat's not even moving for days. And I'm just, but at least, it didn't go to LA. So that, okay, past the strikes, I don't have to worry about that. If they're, they're not going to light the ship on fire because they're all pissed and they want more money. But goes through Panama Canal and then it finally lands at port. And then that's when you really, so while it's on the boat, then the next process starts where you're working with a customs broker, because they're really the one, they handle a lot of this paperwork. But it's one of those assumptions like, okay, this is what they do. They're customs, the customs broker works with U.S. Customs, kind of get everything. There was at least three of the paperwork. There's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration form, as well as the EPA form. They didn't have a clue. I was
Never had to do that before.
Huh?
Never had to do
It was
that.
like it might have been the guy's first day on the job. I don't know, but I had to tell them what forms they needed to fill out, and then I had to fill them out for them to get the process going. But that was something that.
So how hard was it to find those forms beforehand? I assume you knew that you needed those forms.
So that was one of those
Is that
things that
pretty readily available on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these forms you can get. It's not hard to get to. It's just one of those things where if you don't know that you need them, and then you go to get your car and you don't have them, that's it. I mean, you're not getting your car.
And you're in Texas, and they
you're
don't
in Texas. Yeah. That was part of the reason I was like, okay, I could have just gone, there's several companies now that they, they'll do the whole process, import process, and they have the car in the US and they're ready and you can buy them. But you're probably going to pay I probably would have paid an extra $5,000 to $7,000 on top of what I paid to purchase it from someone that had already imported it. But having been into them for the last 10 years, I had time I knew what the entire process was itself. So it wasn't as big a concern for me, but.
So, maybe you can't answer this, but would it be radically different if I wanted to bring something from Europe?
No, absolutely.
Basically the same process?
Same process, maybe slightly easier. I had to get some notarized translations of some of the forms from Japanese. So if either in Europe, there would be the potential that they would be more likely in English, and then it probably would have been easier. But it's all the same paperwork. It's everything. So it's not that big a deal. But.
So then we're going to start importing
Yeah, I was gonna say no.
Alphas and Fiats
Yeah,
and,
His
random.
gears are turning already.
and Audis that I can't fix or afford. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It isn't that hard. I mean, it's not that hard. The government
Okay.
can do it. We can do
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna
It's
say-
not that bad.
You just got to deal with government bullshit, which means you have to do the forms 3 times.
Absolutely.
Because
Send them back and forth.
talking to the wrong
Right.
person.
We need to
fill them out
We
wrong.
need to get rubber stamps with our names because I'm pretty sure we're going to have carpal tunnel before this is over.
But then, so you got to have all that paperwork in line. The car shows up, it goes to port. You go down, you go to the port to pick it up, and then, you can't just go out and get it yourself. You have to be escorted on. So you're going to pay this guy an hourly rate to walk you out there. And again, yeah, if you don't have all your forms right and everything, you don't get the car, you leave, you're out a little bit of money. And then if the car's there more than like a week and a half or something like that, they start charging you a daily fee too to store the car there.
My car wouldn't be there more than a week and a half. I can assure you of this. As long as my paperwork was in order, I'd be there for my car.
Well, my car was there an extra week, and I made the customs broker pay that fee because I had everything taken care of, but we were waiting on them. So, and I was like, every day, every hour, I'm like, okay, should I buy my plane ticket now? No, okay, I'll call you in an hour, in an hour. I'm really glad they didn't start like screening my calls, like just don't
pick up,
don't
don't
answer,
answer.
don't pick. It's him again.
So So tell me about, I can't even imagine this. Tell me the day that you woke up and you said, I'm getting on a plane to go get my GTR.
He didn't wake up that day.
Did you
No,
not?
I was
didn't go to
awake.
sleep.
No, I was awake. It was,
You
it's
were-
like,
yeah.
I'm just staring at the ceiling going, all right, my plane leaves. Yeah, GTR.
What time is it?
I'm
Shit.
sure it
It's
was
only been 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was at the airport 6 hours in advance. Like, where's this plane? Let's get on it.
Well, I'm sure it was worth. I conned a buddy to go in with me. Like, yeah, come on, man, you want to come? You get to drive my Skyline and be there. It'd be great. Like, okay, the plane leaves at like 4 a.m. So we got to be ready. So he's waking up, probably going like,
This is not worth it.
Not a problem. I'd have totally done that.
absolutely. Yeah, just absolutely. And then loaded up a backpack with as many like tools and supplies, again, not knowing, I haven't seen this car. It's been on a boat for 3 weeks.
Right.
What, did the dock workers steal stuff off of it? I've heard a lot of that going on. Batteries are always dead, this and that.
Right.
You then going through airport security and they take half my tools because, that's sharp and that's too long. So then,
Right.
I know that feeling. I've done that with work.
This plan I've had in my head for like 3 months now is now, whoop, all right, now what are we going to do? But it was just, intense getting down there and then getting the port and then seeing there. It's just, it's just sitting there all by itself out there. It's dusty. It's got Japanese writing all over it from the auctions and everything. And then, finally getting the clear from all the customs people and the brokers down there. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, the key's just in it. And you're just like,
No.
what do you mean? It's just like
Wrong answer.
They're like, no, the key's it's just in the ashtray right next to it, and you're just like,
And it's been that way
You're walking
for a month.
You're walking across the parking lot and there's donuts.
yeah,
all
right.
over,
Like if I had known that, 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
Oh my
wouldn't
God.
have lasted. But yeah, you get in the car and then it's dead, obviously, but get a jump, and started right up. Just it's
best
just like
feeling ever.
It must have been.
absolutely,
man.
one of those just like, all right.
This
I
is
did
it.
not waste every single penny I've saved for the last 10 years. Not yet anyway. But
So did they have those just like tie strapped into a big shipping container, or how do those come over? Or is it just sitting out in the open?
so there's two different main ways that you can ship a car throughout the world. It doesn't matter. There's container shipping and then there's roll-o shipping. So roll on, roll off. So the majority of all cars are done roll on, roll off. Even, like a brand new Nissans, Toyotas, they're all roll on, roll off. So, cause it's cheaper that way. Container shipping is a lot more secure and safe, but like for me, if I wanted to do it, it would have added several $1,000s. Now, if I was buying, say, 3 cars and I put all 3 of them in a container, then it works out. Then you're good to go. But that's part of the other thing is that I knew they drove it on the boat and I knew they drove it off. So if they weren't able to drive it on, then I would have been like, okay, now we got a problem. I should probably buy a tow truck or something and just drive it down. But so yeah, they don't even strap it down; they just drive it on.
Oh, that would make me so nervous. Like I've seen the video of like all the, I think was it Nissan or what, Mitsubishi or whatever. That whole boat just lost.
Tank.
That
All
happens like almost probably once a year. So
Yeah.
somebody loses
Yes.
10,000 cars into the abyss.
I've watched every single one of those videos.
Which is probably the worst thing you could have done.
Absolutely.
If I were your friend, I'd be posting that shit on your Facebook page and
Every day.
This is the
Yeah.
kind of friends I have as well. They're
what's
they're
that like?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you got the car started.
Mm-hmm.
You drove it out of the shipping yard.
Yep.
And hit the road.
Hit the road.
And did it make it home?
Yes. It made it home. It developed a little misfire about Oklahoma, but it wasn't too bad. It was somewhat intermittent, and then it was kind of one of the a little nerve wracking. Like it wasn't an enjoyable ride home. It was one of those just got to get home, just got to get home, just got to get home for 18 hours or whatever it took. So.
Then you drove it straight through. You didn't stop, sleep.
No,
nothing.
we stopped because we didn't. By the time we get to the port and they're like, oh no, we're on lunch. Come back in an hour. Come back in an hour. And
They're
a half.
Italians.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean,
My car.
we didn't get it out of there until like 3:00 in the afternoon. So
my
we
gosh.
got to like Oklahoma or something like that, or just past Oklahoma City, and then we're like, all right, that's it. Let's crash. We'll do the rest
Figure it out
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
So, yeah.
Then you made it all the way back with an unregistered Skyline, no license plates, nothing, and without getting pulled over
Never
or anything.
Never.
Wow.
You just saw me drive. I've never been pulled over in it.
Well, I mean, you didn't have plates. You didn't have any information.
Nope.
When you drove it from Texas, is what I mean.
Oh, so
You have a license or a register or a title, at least I would assume, right?
a Japanese title, yes. That
Yeah.
barely says my
so
name.
Does that
So
look really weird?
the one thing that is nice is that Texas, you can go on their DMV website or whatever, and for like $2, you can get a temp tag. So I did have a temp tag, and without any real proof of owning anything or really,
Classic Texas.
Oh, it was amazing. Just like I was ready to like, I'm gonna have to call someone and kind of explain what's going on. Nope. I just put in some information. They gave me my credit card number, $2 charge, and then they just email it to you, and then you just print it out and tape it in the window.
Best $2 you've ever spent.
So long story short, you ship it to Texas every time.
Every time. Or you just like, you do that every week or every month, and with different information, you just drive it anywhere else in the country, and you're just like, no, I just bought it.
I just bought it. Yeah.
It's I just
Driving
drove
it
from
home.
Texas. Yeah, exactly.
Weren't you the guy who pulled over last
What?
month?
No.
No. That was
Different car.
Yeah, different GTR.
But no, and then still getting used to the kilometers an hour and miles per hour. I was probably going like 10 under, thinking I'm speeding anyway. So
What's been the quirkiest thing about it?
the quirkiest thing about it.
Well, you mentioned taking a left turn.
I mean, the weirdest things, it's funny how the small things are actually the weirdest thing about driving on the other side of the road. The turn signal stalk is on the wrong side. Little thing, but it
Oh,
just
really?
gets you.
It's-
Yeah.
I would've never
So you
thought of
always you
that.
reach for it with your other hand. You're just like, what? It's gone. Looking up to the left of the rear view mirror instead of up to the right. It's one of those like, just natural things you're just used to doing. And then you're just like,
Shifting towards you instead
Yeah.
of away.
yeah, the shifting's a little bit, but yeah, the trying to take a left turn across traffic is just impossible. Or passing on 2-lane highways. I mean,
That's
you can't
what's
see around.
always scared me. Like, by the time you know whether it's safe or not, it better be safe.
So, I mean, but the nice thing about a car like this is like, okay, I'll just third gear, be in boost, look around real quick, and just go. And just pray.
It'll make it. It's
Yeah,
plenty
right.
quick.
It hasn't not made it yet.
Those cars are, I mean, that they're famous like, oh, it was rated at 276 horsepower or whatever it was, and you put them on a dyno and they're 25 years old and basically stock and they're well into the threes.
So I mean, yeah, my car is extremely stock. It's stock ECU, stock boost, stock everything. I dynoed it the other day on an all-wheel drive dyno, and it dynoed 260 at all
wheels?
four. So given a
Not
conservative,
bad about that.
right,
No.
conservative 15% drivetrain loss, that's like 315 horsepower. So 30 up from the what it was rated at 25 years later.
That's crazy. And it
Not bad.
feels like there's
It's
more
quick.
than that.
Yeah, it pulls.
It pulls hard.
What's
There
it do
was
for
four
torque?
of us in there.
What's it do for torque? Is that a pretty good number?
It's like 250 or something like that.
Does it come on pretty early?
Yeah, yeah, it does actually. Oh, it's extremely flat. It comes on early and then just goes right across the board.
Because, yeah, I mean, he put his foot down. Didn't matter what speed he was, what gear it was. It just pulled. It was, I mean, I'll bet that car, there's no way I'd have my license for very long. No way.
Absolutely not.
My favorite thing about it, and I keep talking about this, but there's something very mechanical about the car. This is the thing that bothers me about new cars, is that they're trying to engineer all of the mechanical feeling out of the car. So you get in that car,
And then synthetically add about it back.
yeah,
in.
and send it back through the stereo.
Yeah, stereo and CVT that has
Pretends
a
like
delay.
it has
Right.
gear.
Yeah,
Right,
the
right.
weird thing about like the new Subarus, they act like they're a normal automatic transmission,
But
so they
they're
have shift
CVTs,
points.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's so weird.
But it's still a CVT. Yeah.
So you get in that car and you can hear the diffs, or you can feel the diffs. Like there's
You could feel it
mechanical
when he would
vibration.
come around a corner and put his foot down mid corner. You could feel like the car trying to figure out what it's supposed to do, and okay, here we go. Like, you
'Cause-
don't get that.
Yeah, and the thing I didn't know about it is that there's a center diff that moves the power around in that car.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So you said, is it rear-wheel drive all the time?
Yeah.
And then
So yeah, under normal driving conditions, it's only rear wheel drive, and then it has a couple sensors right in the center of the console in the car, and depending on how much lateral acceleration or cornering G's you're getting, it'll transmit power to the front when needed. So
Is that viscous? do
yes. It's got a clutch pack that it uses.
Is it a wet clutch pack? Do you know?
Yes, it is.
So do you have to change that fluid? Is there an interval to that?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
my-
it's in the Japanese service manual.
Yeah.
So
So
still working on, but no, I just spent $300 on oils just to change both diffs, the center, the transfer case, transmission, and everything. So
That brings me to another question I had. When something goes wrong, when you lose a coil pack or whatever it is, how hard is it to get parts?
it's not that hard at all.
I mean, you don't go on Rock Auto and order ignition
but with the internet, if something goes wrong, I can't get something today. I'm not going to be able to go down to O'Reilly's or Napa or whatever and get a part, unless it was shared by the 300ZX, which there are some parts on there that were.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
It's maybe like 5%. But it's one of those things where if this was my everyday driver, it would be hard. It would be difficult. I'd be dealing with that all the time. But this is my fourth car. So, if it breaks,
he is one of us.
Fourth car problems. Yeah.
Fourth car problem. So it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to buy a new part. And then it's always like, well, what can I buy that's better? It's like, what,
he is one of us.
Well, that's the thing about the RB20.
He's my new favorite guy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the RB26 is, there's performance parts everywhere for that engine. So if something goes wrong, you can upgrade it to whatever you want.
Long before we could bring over the car it came in, because that's a pretty common 240 swap and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to dent in the firewall to make it fit. Which,
Worth it.
But it's very common.
So we're doing that next winter then,
Yeah,
right?
get your hammer.
Yeah, because the SR20 went so well. Let's do it with the
We might be doing it next week, actually.
Do you think Lucas will notice if we swap them?
Yes.
Nah, I don't
the
think
torque might be a little different.
That'll be fine.
Even with the built-up engine I have. But circling back. So you're driving it back to Iowa. Tell us the process about getting it registered here. Because you were saying that at the time, you were the first or only legal Skyline in Iowa.
Yeah, so it's having all that documentation set and square. The biggest one was like, okay, I go down and so I go to the treasurer's office to work on getting the title ahead of time. Okay, what are you guys going to need so that when I come in, everything's going to be fine? They're
Did
like,
you get blank stares when you asked that?
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, I gotta go ask. And then there's like three of them. They're flipping through books and they're like, and I'm like, great.
Is he still here? Is he left?
Yeah, right.
Yet,
like,
or?
did he just like give up?
He walked out, right?
And then
he's still here.
And then you get these like answers that they're like, that doesn't seem definitive. So like the next time I come in here, you're just gonna make up something different. Like, but they found the paperwork. It's a list. You need this doc, and this doc. And one of them is like, you need a certified translated title, because the title, the deregistration document, is in Japanese. And it's like, okay, who qualifies for you as certifying that my translation is correct? Oh, well, just that it is. And like, so I can
don't
just
ask
like
questions they don't want to answer.
Oh, so I just had I was working at Bridgestone at the time, and so I have some Japanese advisors there, so I had them translate. It wasn't a big deal, but it was like, they don't have like a notarization stamp that says like, yep, that's right. I'm just like, I just know it's right because they're Japanese. I mean, like, they're not wrong, but so I get all
assholes.
Yeah, right. And they're like, oh, it's for you. Oh yeah, hold on, we'll get you right. You go in there and they show it. I showed them all the paperwork and they're like, okay, great. Everything's in order, but we still need to have the vehicle actually inspected by a DOT inspector. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I assumed that was what was going to happen. So then call this number, set up a time, meet with the guy, and, thank God it's Iowa. Looks at the documents, looks at the VIN number plate on the car, and it's like, okay, this document, this matches his car. It's not stolen. It makes sense. You're good to go. Like, does it have headlights? Does it have,
Right.
seatbelts, any of that? No. Just, is it stolen? Nope. You're good. Okay.
I've heard of that with kit cars and salvage cars too. If you take it to the right guy, he'll just sign it. They don't.
Did you do it here in Des Moines?
Yes. So
Because I think the smaller the town, the more
The
likely
better.
you are to get away with
absolutely.
that
But,
stuff.
Well, but I was ready for that. I mean, it's a Nissan. It's got everything, it has
it's got
all that
what it
stuff.
needs
So it's not really,
anyway.
I wasn't worried, but yeah, at the time the guy told me, he's like, cause he said, once he verified that it was right, and he takes a couple pictures just for documentation, and he's actually got to add it into the system. So when I go back to get my plate and they pull it up, it's actually in the system so they can get it. And he's like, you have the only legal Skyline in Iowa at that time.
that would be the coolest feeling.
That was because I knew there was at least one or two in Des Moines at that time.
Yeah, there's been one for sale recently that is.
Yeah, that's
There's,
that black
there was
one, right?
one on Craigslist
The
for
Tommy
like
Kyara one is
months.
everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen his a
No,
couple times.
it's not that one. There's one
No,
that's
there's a black
not for
one in
sale.
Davenport.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
black
There
one's
was
for sale.
there's a GTS 2-liter one that's been for sale forever. I think that's a 4-door even.
Yeah.
Like
Wants like
who-
12 grand for it.
Who
Though,
wants
doesn't
a 2-liter 4-cylinder 4-door rear-wheel drive Skyline? Nobody.
he? Nobody.
No one.
it's kind of cool, but it's not that cool.
It's not cool enough.
No, it's not.
Like,
For the hassle, it's not.
yeah, if they would have brought those cars here, that might, but then never brought the 4-door one, that might be interesting. But why would I go through the effort to get that car? I don't.
The question is, why did he go through the effort to get it here?
Because it probably cost him $12,
Nothing,
and
yeah.
he didn't. And he thought, oh, someone will buy it. It says Skyline on it. I'll find some sucker.
Absolutely, because you can pick that one up in Japan probably for like $2,000 or $3,000.
It's a Cavalier in Japan.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
You know, they're everywhere. There's lots of them. It's no big deal.
All right, so we've talked about the car being stock. What's the plan to make it not stock? Because I know you've got plans to do some stuff to this car.
Oh, as much as the
Yes, do tell.
Let me break out the list.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as much as the credit limit will allow. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, like I do want to do a lot of it. I want to keep it a street car. I don't want to go too crazy on it because I want to enjoy it on the street because that's, you know, even if I track it, 90% of its use will be on the street. So I mean, I want to go to E85. I want to, you know, do some suspension, some different wheels and stuff like that. Working on a variable valve timing conversion for it, using some Nissan parts from the RB25 actually. So just, but kind of hoping to do it like long term. Like,
Right.
I've never owned a car for more than a year. I'm hoping this is kind of that one
is the
that
one.
that I actually keep and kind of enjoy and do a little bit at a time because it, you know, not just like, okay, it's got like, I just dumped 20 grand in, it's got 700 horsepower and then it's maybe not that fun on the road or something like that.
Can't
So
use it
hopefully,
because it's too much.
right. So hopefully, I mean, cause it's fun. I mean, it's fun right now.
Yeah,
So,
it is. It's
so
awesome.
I think that
We'll
I think
vouch for
that
that.
car is just about the right way for a street car. Like it's really fast most of the time. It feels really good, but it's not so fast that you can't put your foot to the floor. Like, I mean, it's raining today.
Right.
And granted, it's an all-wheel drive car, but you had your foot all the way in it, and it didn't, nothing got at, it didn't step out of line. It
no, and
wasn't,
we
it was
stayed
very
underneath
manageable.
the speed limit.
Of course we were.
Well, yeah, obviously, but it was very manageable. It didn't try to kill us.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah, and that's the goal is to keep it fun for the street. So
So would you, I mean, you gonna bring it racing or are you gonna, or is that not something you're really looking into doing or
I'm sure I will.
coming out racing with us?
Huh?
You gonna
Sure,
bring it to,
May 21.
bring it to
Anytime.
Marshalltown?
Marshalltown?
Marshalltown
Yeah, I did
go-kart
that
track?
last year in my WRX, so I'll do it again in this
We
one.
love that place.
that'd be perfect.
So
We're gonna, we're gonna get a big group there on opening day.
I'm excited about it.
I'm there.
It's great. That's awesome.
All right. So you got your Skyline. You said this is one of 4 cars that
Yes.
you own. You have a Datsun and right?
Yeah, I've got a 71 Datsun 240Z.
Yeah.
There's a reason me and him get along.
Yeah, he's a Nissan guy.
Yeah.
I get it. But so far, I'm not mad about anything he owns myself.
Oh, I've got my '01 Dodge Durango.
See, that's
That was my Craigslist buy to get me through the winter. So
I think that's legit though.
and
give you
I'm
that
about
one.
to sell it, and
It's
I
no
guarantee
Nissan
I'm not
Rogue,
going to lose
so
money on
whatever.
it. And then last Friday, I bought a 996 911 Turbo.
oh my god!
We're wasting our time. We
the-
should have talked about that car instead.
He
Seriously?
didn't ask.
I-
So
What?
I've had it less than a week.
Yeah, I
All
didn't
right, so then in a couple of weeks we're gonna have Lucas back.
Tune in
on
2 weeks
with
from
his-
now. Lucas will be back. We'll be talking
my
about the Porsche
gosh.
996 Turbo. I mean, I'm just legitimately
Oh
serious.
my god!
You come back?
Yeah.
soon?
This really is our favorite guy in the world now, isn't
I
he?
don't live far away. We, you know,
Good.
you guys should come.
we could travel.
You can travel to me. We can take the Datsun out.
Can
We
we
can take
go-
the Porsche out. We
Can
can
we go to his garage?
Yes.
We should do a garage thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can do a garage thing.
Sweet.
Oh my god.
So excited right
I'm loving where this is taking us.
Can I troll some Hondas in the Porsche?
It's not really trolling on when you're in a turbo Porsche.
So I've only had it for a week though, but so far all I kind of get is like nasty looks. Like
You don't say.
Look at this tool. Look at this prick in his Porsche. In the Skyline, all I get is thumbs up, smiles. Everyone's happy. Everything. So
Here's the nobody on the podcast knows this. You guys know this though, but
Yeah.
my favorite scene from a car movie is from Gone in 60 Seconds. After he steals the 996 and he rolls up to the dude in the modified Civic and he looks out the window and he's got the girl in the passenger seat. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Sweetie, you're so talented.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sweetie, you're so talented. And the two of them are talking to each other or whatever. And he's like, and the dude's in the passenger seat hitting Giovanni Ribisi and he's like, fucking stolen car. And then he looks over at the girl and he says, I love you. And the light turns green. And he just fucking smashes it. And all I wanted, my life goal for cars is to get a 996 and roll up to a dude in a Honda with his girlfriend in it, and I will just troll the shit out of that guy.
So now we know what we're doing next Friday.
Oh man,
we can do that. We can do that.
Oh, man.
God, so
GoPro's coming out.
have you owned anything else interesting? You said you haven't owned a car for more than a year or so at a time.
I was counting the other day. I've had about 18 cars.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
32. So
We got some work to do.
So he has legitimately averaged a car a year then.
Yeah.
I've had
impressive.
an Evo, a WRX, an Integra GSR, Mustang 5.0, Jeep Wrangler. My first car was an MGB. It's a little British,
Sweet.
which is great car in Iowa for a 16-year-old for a first car.
Whatever.
How'd your first winter go in that?
It was. I only popped one rim, so
You're good.
yeah, not bad. Jetta GLI. Those are most of them, but
There we go. Does that have the VR6 in it?
no, it had the 1AT.
Do you have as many problems as I did with mine?
So all of
Probably. My guess is
Lots of coil packs and mass airflow sensors and
coil
and
packs, yes.
all these stupid
And then
things.
I could not sell it without changing the timing belt, the water pump, and everything.
I
So
know that feeling too.
that was fun. But so I've had a lot of cars, but I finally have some nicer cars.
Yeah. Some stuff maybe you want to hang on to
Yeah,
for a little longer.
No.
I can't believe he's got a Porsche and a GTR. I can't get over this.
turbo
It's awesome.
Porsche.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie. When I wake up and I go out to the garage, I'm kind of like,
What do I drive today?
This isn't so bad. I mean, really.
Who needs a wife and kids, right?
somewhere I did.
Looking
not
at
go
you,
wrong.
Adam.
Yeah, I know. I messed up. It's my bad. Katie, if you listen to this, I'm just kidding.
This has been awesome.
He's not kidding.
This has been really awesome. Stick around for more because you're definitely coming back because
Yeah.
we're checking out the Porsche and the Datsun. That's going to be sweet.
You're going to be the reason we have awesome YouTube videos, I think.
Yeah.
You're going to be our start.
So now we're going to transition into the news, I think. Robbie, what do you got for news?
All right. Well, first, it's the one that I care the least about.
It's the most important thing we're
you're
talking
such
about
a
today.
dick.
The soon-to-be broken everywhere TTRS is coming.
Why?
Oh.
Why do you hurt me so?
It's the Audi TT-RS. It has...
So the new Mark III TT, which I like better than the Mark II TT.
I didn't like it as much originally, but now in this trim, spot on.
Yeah.
It's great. It
They
looks
are,
great. It
aren't
looks
they?
very,
Oh,
very
man.
good.
So angry looking.
It is a very
And
angry
all
little
that,
car.
with that 5-cylinder and a turbo, it's just going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah, totally.
I think this is a bold statement for me to make.
Nope.
Do it.
don't
I know
wanna-
what you're gonna
I
say.
don't wanna
Do it.
I don't
Do
wanna-
it.
No, this isn't what you think I'm going to say.
All right,
Neither
go.
one of you are right.
Go.
But if I had the money, I would buy that over the R8.
Bullshit.
Yep, for sure.
The V8 or the V10?
Yes.
No, not buying it. I saw one of those in town the other day, by the way.
No, I would buy that car, and I would send it to APR, and I would tell them, stage 3, please.
As many horsepowers. Put them in.
Go out into your pasture, gather all of your horses, stuff them
Put them
under
in
the hood of
here,
that car,
sir, please.
send it back my way.
Here's
I suppose in the
blank
time,
check.
in the time it would take for them to get it to stage 3 and get it back to you, you could have time to save money and get all these extra spare parts in your garage for when it fucking breaks.
Nah, if you're that rich, you just have a shop.
See, that's the thing about Audis actually, is that most of the time when you tear all the factory crap off and you add a bunch of horsepower, at the same time you've added reliability because you've taken all the bullshit off and fixed it.
It's probably true.
Yeah, just get a standalone, and you're good to go.
You don't need a standalone. Those are great ECUs as they stand.
Just get rid of that computer. It's an Audi computer. Just get rid of it.
Put a Motec in it. Moving on.
Perfect. So
But yeah, I would love that car. I think they're awesome.
they are pretty sweet. The more astute listener is probably asking, why are we talking about the TTRS after we just talked about the RS3 2 weeks
Because
ago?
I didn't get to talk about the RS3, and I want to talk about my ability to do silly 5-cylinder turbo things.
And Robbie has been dragging his feet on this topic all week.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it.
I know. I could care less about a 5-cylinder Audi.
Why? What's wrong with a,
You know
with
why?
a turbocharged
It's because he's
5-cylinder
never
motor?
experienced a 5-cylinder engine. He doesn't know what he's missing.
That's actually true. I've never.
You know what I really want is a 5-cylinder Colorado with a gigantic turbocharged.
Yeah.
on it.
I'd be more on board with that.
They sound so good. They sound like little mini V10s. Or a 2.5 liter Rabbit, like a 2011 2.5 liter Rabbit with a giant turbo on it.
So people are taking that 2.5 liter motor and swapping them into first gen TTs.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Because it sounds
That's
sweet,
a car
Robbie.
I would own.
And it makes all
For
kinds
sure.
of torque. It literally sounds like a little Gallardo.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're going to take the engine out of your shitty TT that you had before and then put a nicer, better one in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Well, it's still a Volkswagen engine. I mean, don't get it too twisted.
It's the motor that you just told me is going to break down all the damn time.
This is a new one.
It's I think it's all the same.
Is it?
Yeah, it's probably the same block, same liter, same
Yeah, they're
displacement.
identical.
I'm sure it's all the same.
I'll bet it's the same motor. They just hung a snail off the side of it instead.
Get some forged parts in it. You're ready
Yeah,
to go.
it might be a little more built internally, but it's
Probably.
the same motor.
Yeah, I suppose if you replace all the original stuff and upgrades, that might work.
Yeah, see?
All right, Captain Hater, what's the next topic?
Someone will convert your Aston Martin Vulcan to make it street legal. I mean, if you have $2.5 million lying
See,
around.
this is just excess at its finest.
Let's explain the Vulcan first. 'Cause
Okay.
it's sweet.
The
Vulcan
Aston
is
Martin
amazing.
Vulcan is a $2.3 million track only. I don't know what's beyond
monster.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, what's beyond?
Fire spitting,
It's the best.
snarling, nasty Aston Martin.
It's the best car that Aston Martin's ever made.
It's the most
I'm
ridiculous
saying.
car ever.
It may be better than the 177, which is a car that I like that, nobody ever talks about anymore because they made them in such small numbers.
Yeah, there's a couple of oil sheiks in the Middle East that own them, and that's it.
That's a gorgeous car. Something about this car is mean.
The Vulcan is
mean.
Gosh, it's the best car they've made.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do yourself a favor and find our Instagram and find the picture of it that Robbie will post.
I will be posting it.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
So yeah, I thought it was amazing. Isn't there one in the United States? There's two in the United States total, and obviously they were never intended to drive on the street, which brought up the question. Even if they do make it street legal, they'll never certify it in the States. So obviously the people in America are not going to drive on the streets anyways.
Where is this company? Do we know?
It's very vague.
Yeah, there's not. I didn't see much information.
I think it was a
about this.
British company. I think they were actually the news article that I read the first time I saw this said that it was a company that has been approved by Aston to do this. I think they're in some way, shape, or form related to Aston's racing efforts.
Yes. So yeah, what they'll do is they'll replace the tires, obviously, get rid of slicks and make them street legal. Yeah. DOT rated.
In air quotes, we'll replace the tires, sir.
Yep. And then they'll make it so that the exhaust is legal and it has all the correct signals, like turn signals and headlights, stuff like that. Because right now the headlights are just strictly lights. They're not legally functional.
They probably don't have highs and lows. They're just on.
Yeah, they're just on.
Yeah, plus, and I'm sure it's this way in any country, but you still have to have like certified headlights, like whatever your DOT version is in your country has to say, yeah, those would count as headlights according to our regulations.
Yes.
I think that's something that people don't realize when they buy eBay HID kits is that there is regulations to what your headlight can be, and those probably don't meet it.
Yeah, and you're an asshole, by the way. Stop putting aftermarket HID headlights on your car without reflectors in them. Because guess what? We're all blind because of it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not helping anybody.
You selfish dick. Did you see the training program when you buy a Vulcan? Did you see this?
There's a training program?
There's a training program because Aston Martin knows who's going to buy these cars,
People who can't handle them.
and they're going to all kill themselves.
Every last one of them.
So Aston Martin has set up a special training program when you buy your Vulcan for $2.3 million. Is that right?
Yes.
So you get this little track experience that they set up for you, and they step you up in different levels of Aston Martin so that you can get up to the power of the Vulcan. So the first one you get in is just it's a pedestrian plebeian V12 Vantage S. You just be
That'd be terrible.
Like a slow
you're
Tuesday.
not even
It's
moving at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well be in a smart car. And then you do go up to a 177. So apparently Aston Martin has a factory 177 that they use for this program. Fair enough. That's step 2. And then there's apparently their Vantage GT4 race car is faster than the 177, which it is a race car, so I suppose that makes sense. But So they step you up through those three, and then they put you in your Vulcan, and then at that point, if you kill yourself, it's your fault.
Well, I think your race car comment, that's pretty standard. Like, the P1 GTR is slower than the 650S GT3. If you put a professional race car driver in both of those cars and send him out on a track, he can do a better lap time in the GT3 spec car than he can in the P1 GTR. But if you put a mortal human being, a not tame racing driver, into those two cars, chances are the GTR he'll be faster in because it's easier.
More forgiving.
It's easier to drive that car at its maximum limit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So that doesn't surprise me.
No, so circling back to the S, and the only thing I'm curious as, do they just bolt on new headlights, new tail lights, stuff like that, or do they literally have to drill into this $2.3 million car?
They better leave those taillights because those things are the highlight. They are awesome.
They're super cool.
So cool. Don't take if they took those headlights off. No, I'll keep it track spec. That's fine. I'll just drive it. You can write me a ticket. Whatever.
If you have $2.3 million for a car, I'll drive it on the street anyways. I don't care.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing about this.
Does anybody that has the amount of money to do the conversion give a shit?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Write me a ticket? Okay, write me a ticket.
Okay.
Then it takes 3 months for them to get it back to you.
Unless you live in I think it's Finland or whatever, where it's like the ticket cost is based on your annual income, then I might care.
Yeah.
Or if it's like California with the GT or like a Skyline, if they
Where they'll crush it.
they'll crush it. I mean, can you imagine the uproar if someone crushed a $2.3 million Vulcan?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that someone who owns a $2.5 million car has the pull to get his car not crushed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, somebody that's bought a $10,000 GTR and had it imported from Japan illegally probably doesn't have that swing here.
No. God, I want this car so bad.
It's so cool.
Yeah, do yourself a favor and look up the picture.
Fire
please.
and the noise and oh man, it's great. I hope that this becomes more of a regular thing with those level of car manufacturers, because Ferrari's been doing it for a while.
Yep.
And who doesn't love the FXX and the 599XX and what is the LaFerrari one?
I don't know.
The FXK.
FXXK, because it looks like it says fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been doing that for a while. Those are incredible cars. Now, Aston Martin is doing this. McLaren has the P1 GTR. I hope this becomes a thing because these cars are seriously cool pieces. I love it.
Yeah.
What's up next, Robbie?
The Italians undercut the Japanese by making their new 124 cheaper than the Miata. So they teamed up with Mazda. They got this awesome 124 coupe that looks like, or is it coupe?
Convertible.
Well, no, I was thinking the coupe
there's
concept that looks really awesome.
The Miata MF, which is an unfortunate acronym.
It's not MF, it's RF.
RF?
Is it?
Retractable roof?
I think that looks way better. But anyway, we already talked about that.
I think it's RF.
Yeah, so they teamed up, and now the base model or the chassis or whatever for the Fiat is the same as the Mazda Miata, and now it's more powerful and cheaper.
Yeah, so if you just go in and say, I want base levels of trim, they're basically the same price. There's like $800 difference between the two.
Yep.
But moving up from there,
it starts getting cheaper.
which is just
You can
awesome.
get the Abarth. So the Abarth is it's basically $28,000. And the Miata Club, which is the same level of trim, you get the Bilsteins and the bigger brakes and all that nonsense.
the better seats.
Yeah.
The limited slip.
Yeah, you get, I think you get BBSs too.
I think that, yeah.
Yeah, so that one's $600 more or whatever, which is just, but you get like 35 more foot-pounds of torque in the...
Yeah, it's not as significant. I mean, it's only like 5 horse or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of insignificant.
But it's 35 foot-pounds more torque, which is definitely noticeable, especially if you're going to use it in an autocross scenario, which I think most of these cars are going to end up doing. And then on top of that, because it's turbocharged, you take it down to someone and they, touch a couple buttons on a computer, you got 50 more of everything.
Yeah, a simple
like that.
tune, a stage 1 tune on that multi-air is worth 50 horsepower and 60 foot-pounds of torque.
At the wheels.
Destroying people.
That's so awesome.
In a car that weighs 2,300 pounds or whatever?
Yeah.
What?
It's going to be great.
What?
I hope that they sell a shitload of them.
They
are.
They had an agreement They had to have had an agreement
I can't
where
believe-
Fiat wasn't supposed to sell it cheaper than the Miata. So there was a ton of phone calls made this week. You assholes. What? I don't
But
remember.
Sergio didn't answer those phone calls because he can't be bothered.
No, I'm sure he did. He's just like, what? I don't remember that conversation at all. As he's shoving things through his paper shredder.
Or maybe Mazda just like, oh, we'll sell it to him because there's no way that they can sell it cheaper than we are. And they didn't have the foresight to make sure that that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, FCA's not making any money, so, he knows that, whatever. Let's just mark it up like 5% and just put it on sale.
Just a big.
It's a marketing thing.
Just
You get a
love
bunch
Ser-
of them out on the road, and then next thing you know, you'll be selling more Alpha 4Cs, and everybody's happy.
Love Sergio. He's the best auto executive.
So when are you ordering one?
I want to drive one. They told me that they would have one in typical Italian fashion, that they would have some now. That they don't have any now.
So Michael did go to the dealership
I did.
and has talked to them about buying a 124. He
Yeah.
is, on some level, fairly serious about it.
Yep, and they said that they would have them at the beginning of May, and they don't. Actually, I think they said at the end of April, and they don't have any.
But they did have 4 Alpha 4Cs there.
No, they had like 8 of them. I was like, did you guys write the wrong number in for quantity when you ordered? Like, what? This is Des Moines. They said they haven't sold one in Iowa.
But
You're kidding me.
No. Like, what's everybody else? What are the other 150 dealerships across the country doing? Nothing then? And you guys are just shipping them to Texas and California and that sort of shit?
Wow.
it's awesome. I want one so bad.
It's so cool.
It is cool.
It is cool. You
I
can
don't-
see they didn't put any carpet in it in the 4C, so you can see the carbon when you step in over the sill. The whole sill's carbon fiber. The whole floor's carbon fiber. The seats are carbon fiber.
It's got a flat bottom steering wheel. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm aware.
Don't worry, Robbie. It's so cool.
Your raging erection will clear the steering
It's
wheel.
so cool.
Why do you think I have one in the 240? You got it.
There's not enough carbon fiber in the 240.
I know. Ran out of money. All right, moving on. Honda is mad at GM for sandbagging during the Indy 500 testing.
Yeah, Marco Andretti is butthurt for sure.
Yeah.
So Honda took a page from Lamborghini and sandbagged on the Indy 500 pre-race test, where apparently they used the results there for some level of performance indexing.
Yep.
And so GM was how many miles an hour slower this year?
They were 5 miles an hour slower than they were last year for no reason.
Yeah, they didn't get slower. I can assure you of this.
Yep.
So basically, they do this testing before they do the race to come up with a performance index, and then they can dial cars down if they're too fast. So Honda and GM did this performance testing. I don't know when it was, last weekend, but
Yep.
anyway, they did the testing, and all of the Honda cars were about 5 miles an hour faster than the GM cars
Yeah,
were.
so the actual Andretti posted a time or a speed of 223.427 miles an hour.
I believe that's an average lap speed, isn't it?
I think that was his fastest lap.
yeah, I think it's
but,
fast.
I think that's
Yeah.
the fastest lap, but that number is the average mile per hour in that lap.
That would make sense.
I think that's what, I don't think it's the fastest mile an hour he achieved. I think it's the average speed of the lap that he did.
but it's the fastest average.
The fastest of the individual average laps.
Right. Okay.
So
what
Andr-
GM do?
Yeah, so Andretti was at 223.427, and Chevy was at 221.29.
So they were a little bit slower.
But last year they were 5 mile an hour faster.
They were
than
slower they were faster than Honda last year.
Yeah, and Andretti said that 223 miles an hour is slow, and that was his best time. So he was complaining about that too.
So basically, his concern is that the officials are going to dial down the Hondas, and then all of a sudden, the Chevy cars are going to be like, "Oh, I wasn't pressing the pedal down all the way," and then they're just going to destroy.
Yep. And it's a bigger deal because it's the 100th anniversary of the Indy 500. Everyone wants this win, and they're going to do anything to get it.
It's going to be a big race this year. There's a lot of like pomp and circumstance for this
A lot of
race
hype,
to
yeah.
begin with, and then now it's a big anniversary. So there's going to be lots of people. There's going to be lots of race cars. It's a big field. It's always a bigger field at Indy 500 than it is at most of the rest of the IndyCar races anyway. I can see where he'd be upset about
I
it,
get it.
Yeah.
especially if my last name was Andretti.
Yes. And to him, this is blatant sandbagging. It's not even like they're trying to hide it.
Mike was saying there's a video of the press conference, and he was
It's him trackside after he set his lap, I think, and he was awfully just
Damn near in tears.
He's whiny. Yeah, he's being a little whiny.
But, I mean, if your last name is Andretti, you have a certain level of expectation that you have to uphold. And, you know, winning the 100th anniversary of that race has got to be very important to him more than anybody else.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's
because of what that family has done, not only in that series, but at that race.
And I think he's disappointed too because, you know, the Hondas are a lot slower than the Chevy cars anyway. So he was already coming in with a disadvantage, but if the officials come in and dial his car back, he's completely screwed. So I get why he's upset. It's just funnier to make fun of him.
I think that in Indy you've got, I think there's only the two. There's GM and there's Honda, and they both have their own engines and they both have their own aero packages, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, you are correct.
So they are not crazy different, but they are a little bit different.
Yep. So that's really all I got on that.
Should we wrap this up?
Yep.
All right. Catch us next week.
Do we have any events next week?
Events next week?
Yeah,
What do you got?
next week we're doing the supercar awesome day.
Well, this will be come out that day.
Oh, that's right.
So they won't.
So we're gonna edit this out because I fucked it all up.
Damn it, Robbie. So there's a Carl's Cars and Coffee.
Why isn't it Carl's and Coffee?
It should be-
Carl's with
it
some
should be-
stupid punny,
Yeah.
hyphen in there.
Yeah. I love.
Damn it, Carl.
Since I'm a dad now, I love bad dad jokes and puns. So it should be Carl's and Coffee. Maybe we should just call it Carl's and Coffee.
We'll call it Carl's and Coffee.
And maybe
because
it'll
it's easier
take
to
off.
say. It's
Maybe
easier
it'll take off.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to
It'll
say.
be a
anyway.
thing.
So that's what date is that again?
That's the 14th.
Okay.
And then the 15th is a race in Oskaloosa again.
Which we probably won't go to.
Probably not.
Not ready to go to Oskaloosa yet.
Yeah, I might have something at this place.
There's a race today in Oskaloosa, and we're obviously
It's raining and there's not a chance.
Not racing in the rain. Fair weather right here.
Yeah, I race slicks. I don't want to race in the rain.
I just don't really want to drive to Oskaloosa, to be honest. It's not worth it.
That's where you'll find out how bouncy those seats are. That road.
Well, I'm not
Yeah,
driving
It'll be in a trailer. Don't
Yeah.
get fooled.
Oh, that's
Don't get it twisted, bro.
My bad.
Race
Forgot.
trailer.
I forgot. If you can get it on it.
It goes in now.
He's got a method. We talked about this.
Yeah. Man, Robbie's a hater today.
That's not true. Just don't get me started on
It's
Audis.
because you
again.
were ragging on his furniture. I'd be upset about it too.
Yeah, how nice is your furniture?
Mine's a little bit better than yours.
That's true.
But I'm not going to give you too much shit for it.
Thanks, buddy.
You put
Take
your
over.
priorities in the right places. You bought race car parts first, and furniture is secondary.
Yep.
As I've said before, you can live in a car, you can't race a house.
That's right.
On that note, let's wrap this up.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Catch you guys next week.
Fucking assholes.
By fucking assholes, you mean friends.
Yeah, same thing.
Best friends ever.
Best friends.
My best friends are my worst enemies.
Keep your enemies, or your friends
friends
close,
close.
your enemies closer.
Yeah, so that's why I do a podcast with you assholes.